Here we go. It's Bob Branch bringing you another edition of the Daily Devo, and we are at the end of our 21-day generosity challenge. And we are the day after the end of that day. And I want to ask you, I just want to do a debrief, because all of this is about being co-workers with God. And because God is generous and God wants to supply resources through us into other people's lives, that's the reason why we're doing this, so that we can become generous like He is, and that we can participate with Him in bringing His generosity to the world. This world is on the take. I don't know if you've noticed that, but God's people are supposed to be on the give. The world's on the take, we're on the give. And because we're on the give, we need to calibrate our systems, calibrate our mindsets, calibrate our lives to be looking for opportunities to give, not just opportunities to exist. And in doing this, we are now then God's co-workers in this. So I want to ask you, what did you learn? Did you ask God for opportunities? And what kinds of things did He do in that? What did you learn? I think in this, I realized that I can be pretty oblivious without asking, that I can live without being a giver. That kind of troubles me. What did you learn in this whole thing? Think about that. What did you learn about yourself? What kinds of things kind of were exposed within who you are by being in this time, this COVID, this pandemic, and then asking God to help you to become a giver at least once a day? Did you find that actually that you had more than one opportunity a day, that at the beginning it was kind of hard to find something, and then after that it kind of snowballed? I find that that's the way that giving is oftentimes, that we kind of have to get outside of ourselves, but then once we start getting outside of ourselves, it becomes more second nature. That's the point, that we build a habit of being givers, of giving. What habits of mind? Did your habits of mind change in this whole thing? Do you find yourself not having to pray and ask as much, but you just have sort of got it? It's sort of part of you now. Again, that's our point. What has awakened in you in this? My guess is that some of you discovered that you had things to give that you didn't know that you had to give. I think that some of you actually gave your time to some people, and when you did, you had no idea how valuable that really was. But you gave your time, and it hit the target, like in a way that you just didn't anticipate. Other ones of you, you gave some service, and people so appreciated that. And maybe some of you felt a little bit embarrassed because people were so surprised because you gave, because they're not used to you giving. And I think that that's something that is part of our turning to God and letting God change us. Is to not be prideful about that, but just to say, yeah, I think I was on the take before more than I was on the give, and I am learning. And that's part of humility. That's part of moving forward with God in this. Did you notice anything kind of died inside of you? That is maybe me orientation, or maybe as you started giving, you realized that the white knuckle grip that you had on your stuff, or that your stuff had on you, it began to loosen. And that maybe toward the end of this, you started giving away some things that were particularly of value to you, because they weren't as much of value to you anymore. Maybe you started giving money a lot more liberally than you did before. What kinds of creativity did this dawn in you? That kind of, did you, when you're thinking, I mean, at least I did, I've had several days where I was thinking, shoot, I'm not coming up with anything. And it's 3 o'clock in the daytime. I got to get somewhere. I got to go be somewhere where I can have a divine appointment. I love that, because if you're looking for divine appointments, you're going to have more divine appointments if you're looking for them. I remember we used to, years ago, we would go clean people's windshields and then put a card on there while you were away. Somebody from the Springs cleaned your windshield to show you God's love in a practical way. We hope you did a good job. And this was this met some kind of a need in your life. And I remember as I took people out to train them to do this, for one, we had to teach them how to actually do a good job of cleaning a windshield. But after they learned how to do that, the first time that they're out there like, oh, please God, they're praying, because I said, you can pray for the people that own these cars and stuff, as you're doing this. And at first they start out like, please God, don't let anybody catch me watching their windows. I just want to put this card on and go to the next car. And please don't let the car alarm go off, as they're cleaning the window. The next time that they go out, they're like, okay, Lord, I I'm praying for the person that owns this car, that you would somehow get to them, and you start praying for them in that. And then the third time that they go out, they're like, wow, I wouldn't really mind if I was caught actually cleaning their windshield and I could actually tell them the reason why we're doing this. And then the fourth thing is like, I want to be here so I can get caught, so I can tell people about how the Lord of love loves them. And there's a journey that goes on in that. There's a creativity in that. Another question. Did you make any new friends out of this whole thing? Or did your friendships go deeper out of this? Because when you typically are on the give, your friendships will change. Your orientation toward those around you will change. The students who you're at school with, that will change. The people that you go to church with, your family, your kids, your spouse, your coworkers, your neighbors, all of those things change when you start being on the give rather than on the take, or even just in neutral. All of these things are about creating the habits that help us to be kingdom representatives and co-workers with God. I'm so glad that you joined me in this. I'm looking forward to what the Lord is going to do with us as we take this challenge beyond the 21 days and into the world as a part of the habit of our lives. I love you. Thanks for joining me in this challenge. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow on Facebook Live, but I'm so glad that you joined me through this whole thing. I love you. I'm praying for you.